Hello everyone. In this video, we are presenting about the corporate scandal occurred in Pramukha Bank. Let's see what are the topics we are going to cover in this video. Organization overview, nature of failure, parties that were involved, whether the financial statement indicated such things, external auditor and auditor opinion on financial statement, breach of auditor's responsibilities. In very first, we are talking about overview of the Pramukha Bank. Pramukha Savings and Development Bank, which was established in 21st July 1997, is the first privately owned savings bank in Sri Lanka. The founder of Pramukha Savings and Development Bank is Mr. Rohan Pereira, who is an experienced banker in the local banking industry within the good reputation in the country. It has won the trust of its customers in performance and assets based in Pramukha Bank. Pramukha Savings and Development Bank aimed the poor borrowers in the villages. They established agencies in villages and coordinated the village borrowers through agents. Within the first 5 years, they reached to the peak stately and had 3,700 million rupees of total assets. According to the records of Pramukha Savings and Development Bank, their non-performing advances were nearly 1.27 billion rupees. In October 2002, when the bank collapsed, had 2.2 million rupees bad debts. Also for these facilities, 93.6 million rupees of interest was recognized as revenues. The NPA ratio was initially at 25% and it was risen to 50% overnight. At the period of collapse, it was increased up to 80%. Because of all these conditions and facts, after 6 years of starting a Pramukha Bank, it faced a series of contradictory incidents and situations.
Nature of the scandal. Despite of good strategic vision, recognition and reputation about Mr. Rohan Pereira's knowledge and experience, the situation at Pramukha Bank was not happy at the outset of the governance framework that he has implemented. Although he is an expert in the field of banking, but the board of directors of Pramukha Bank were not professionally proficient in the field of banking. However, the information provided by the critics confirms that many factors have influence on the situation. The inappropriate management policies of the board of directors were a main reason for this breakdown. For an example, in Sri Lanka, Pramukha Bank has invested Pramukha Savings and Development Bank's EPF funds in the form of debentures and bonds, violating even the labor laws of its employees. The director of the institution has acted irresponsibly at his own direction. He has even changed the leading regulations to his liking. That is proved by providing a loan of 2 million rupees to Mr. MP Gamini Athukorala. And also, the chairman of Pramukha Savings has taken the choice to put 13.9% of the bank's capital in Pan Asia Bank Corporation. This is totally against the speculation strategy of CBSL, which permits most extreme 10% of funding to be contributed on a solitary sited organization. The responsibilities and duties of the board of directors were not satisfactory, and their poor financial management experience was very detrimental to the operations of the bank. As a result, Mr. Rohan Pereira had too much power and influence over the overall decision making of the bank. Since non-executive directors do not contribute to the day-to-day operations of the organization, it will be easier to make true and correct decisions about the organization and to reduce the frauds that might going to happen. Pramukha Bank has continued to operate outside the approved branches without the prior approval of the monetary board of the central bank. This is very good example to illustrate that the company has violated the rules and regulations imposed by the CBSL. And also, the bank recognized the authenticity of the financial position but kept in a secret from its allies. The company has not even been able to issue its financial statement within the stipulated time frame for the use of interested parties. In addition to all the above details, the chairman of Pramukha Bank has voluntarily lent 22.5% of the corporate capital to Vanik Corporation Limited. And there was no need for the top management, including the director of the institution, to recover the loans. Explaining further about this breakdown, the central bank is also responsible in this column, so which will be discussed in the next slide.
The parties that were involved with the scandal. When discussing how the central bank is responsible in this, it has only gave a license to operate as a savings and development bank. During that time, there was no regulatory framework on how a private sector bank should carry out its activities. The main problem that Pramukha Bank had to face because of incomplete regulation was that the bank's board did not have parrot execution rights. That means when loans are being defaulted by the customers, the bank's directors did not have a right to sell or execute mortgage property. As another threat to the bank's operations, approvals were not given by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to open branches. From a banking point of view, it will not be possible for a savings bank to operate from one location since it cannot mobilize deposits due to non-availability of branch network. Lack of proper supervision and scrutiny by the central bank, which licensed the establishment of Pramukha Bank, also hampered the long-term existence of Pramukha Bank. These arguments regarding the commencement of operations had a major effect in the downfall of Pramukha related with its regulators part. But also, the management of bank too had contributed for the failure of the bank. Pramukha Bank's top management, including the head of the bank, were primarily responsible for the activities that led to the bank's collapse. Udayanana Kara, a member of board of directors, was an expert in tourism industry, while Camillus Pereira was a cartoonist and the owner of Camillus Publications. Both of them didn't have a clear understanding about the commercial sector and bank management. Chairman had taken arbitrary decisions on stock investments, which the board of directors have blindly endorsed. They also have given 2 million rupees loan to the former member of parliament, Mr. Gamini Athukorala, against a property mortgage by taking more risk.
When talking about the management of the organization, they have credited employees' contribution of EPF to an unapproved fund that invested back into the Pramukha Savings Bank itself. According to Labour Law Act, it was a serious violation. The financial department of Pramukha Savings Development Bank had windowed their financial statement to facilitate the shareholders and refused the actual financial position of them. As an example, the Pramukha Bank has remodeled the operation loss of 16.5 million LKR into the profit of 8.3 million LKR. In here, they have broken the prudence concept. Pramukha Savings Development Bank external audit was done by KPMG and they were unable to display the misstatement happened within the bank on time. Therefore, all the above institutions today may have been basically strong and credible chain that since the beginning of the Pramukha Savings and Development Bank. These shortcomings were compounded due to the misleading responsibilities of Pramukha Bank. They were able to avoid this situation by following these methods: appointing the board of directors and good technical knowledge and experience in finance sector, maintaining a good balance with independent and non-executive directors, appointing the formal audit committee and holding annual general meeting with the annual report. When there is an economic competition within the finance companies, the Pramukha Savings and Development Bank could have been resolved this crisis if internal control had been maintained to protect interest of shareholders and stakeholders as well.
The financial statement indicates such things. Whether the financial statement indicate about the scandal. When CBSL decided to suspend the operations of Pramukha Bank, 80% of their asset portfolio consists of non-performing loans. To rehabilitate the bank, Mr. Rohan Pereira had requested the waiver of some prudential provisions applicable to bank and for funds from the CBSL. Even though the bank did not have the parrot execution as their last option, they were failed to take the necessary precautions for the NPL with a defense mechanism against non-performing loans is prudent lending policies. It has been discovered by the investigation the Pramukha Bank negligent lending policy is to blame for the most of non-performing assessed in its book. However, there were also evidence that bank was also engaged in activities which seriously violate laws and regulations. One of which is regarding employees' provident fund contribution of the bank staff which discussed above. By resorting to such illegal practices, the bank had attempted to place the burden of its liquidity shortfall on the shoulders of employees. According to the financial report of year 2002, they had a bad debit of 2.2 billion rupees. In this year, they had non-performing advance stood at 1.27 billion rupees, and the revenue on this interest recognized facilities amount to 93.6 million rupees. In 2002, September 13, Pramukha Bank had negative net worth position of assets amount to 130.6 million rupees. As a result, PSTB stood to loss 19.7 million rupees. The non-performing advance ratio, which was initially at 25%, had risen up to 50% overnight, and at the time of collapse it was at 80%, and also Pramukha Bank had failure to maintain a minimum statutory liquidity ratio of 20%.
External auditor and auditor's opinion on financial statement. Pramukha Bank's external auditor is KPMG. However, Pramukha Bank was not required by law to publish financial statements. This is because Pramukha Bank was not a public limited company. However, KPMG was the external auditing firm, and the financial transaction within Pramukha Bank and the financial statements prepared by the firm were found to be flawed and fraudulent. KPMG's failure to properly diagnose financial statements from its clients also contributed to the bank collapse. It was later revealed that the shortcomings have been suspended were miscalculated by Pramukha Bank is its financial statements, and it is identified by auditors that PSTB is following a fraud. Pramukha Bank does not have any note of undated valuation reports on property loans and does not keep accounts of them. Nominated and recorded in a pension and gratuity share ownership scheme for bank employees. The bank has exceeded the limits imposed on it by the central bank with respect to equity investment, and the bank has exceeded the limits imposed on Pramukha Bank by the central bank in respect of possession of immovable property. Several such shortcomings have been identified during the audit of Pramukha Bank's financial statements, and the last time Pramukha Bank prepared its financial statement for the year ended March 31, 2001 was the audit of relevant audit on August 30th of the same year. The institution has come forward. However, the audit firm has been able to issue an audit report on financial statements, including internal governance deficiencies for the year ended 31st August 2002. In addition to the above, the audit report submitted by KPMG on Pramukha Bank reveals that Pramukha Bank has violated Act number 23 of the Sri Lanka Accounting Standard. Revenue recognition and disclosure in the financial statements of banks. Pramukha Bank also withheld the provident funds of Pramukha Bank employees in the internal private provident fund without the approval of the relevant authorities, and they had made several other inappropriate accounts related to them.
Breach of auditor's responsibility. Despite the fact that such an institution could be considered a failure, it may not have been possible to identify it in the past due to the shortcomings of the auditor and some of the professionalism and policies of that institution. Looking at the policy framework introduced by the Sri Lanka Institute of Accountants for any audit and audit firm, the following are some of the policies that have been linked to the collapse of Pramukha Bank. First one, integrity. This principle basically means that auditors engaged in professional accounting should always state their service in an honest and straightforward manner. However, a closer look at the above financial problem identified by Pramukha Bank reveals that KPMG has not done its job in the literary sense of the word. For an example, KPMG did not recognize the bank financial loss 16.5 million rupees until it was collapsed. This shows that the auditors have not been honest about their professional accounting policies. Second one is the professional competency, and this principle simply states that an auditor should always use his or her knowledge, skills and experience in auditing. When comparing the case of Pramukha Bank with this policy, it is doubtful whether KPMG has used the above skill, experience, etc. correctly. For an example, more than 75% of Pramukha Bank assets are made of non-performing loans, and management does not pay due attention to the loan repayment. The auditor did not pay attention to the fact that Pramukha Bank did not pay due attention to the fact that this was very large percentage of the company's survival. So it is clear that auditor has not used their experience and skill to explain to Pramukha Bank that has been overbounded is the harboring of bankruptcy. Third one is due care. This means that an auditor should always be mindful and considerate of what he is doing and work diligently without delay. If KPMG had acted in accordance with the policy outline, it would not have made the discovery of the critical financial issue mentioned above. The best evidence that KPMG, the audit firm that audited Pramukha Bank, has not paid due attention to the bank in recent time is that the auditors have not submitted a report on Pramukha Bank internal governance defense due on March 21st, 2002.
Number 4, objectivity. This policy explains that an auditor is not in any way based towards his client or other related parties based on the financial or non-financial advantage they receive. It is further clarified that he may not have any personal relationship with an auditor and his auditing firm and individuals in professional matters. But it is not clear whether KPMG was loyal to Pramukha Bank to cover up the problematic situation in the company's management with or without influence. This is because the KPMG stated that they would not take any responsibility for the financial irregularities that had taken place within KPMG in the wake of the audit inquiries made by KPMG in the higher echelons after the crash. Number 5, confidentiality. This means that an auditor does not have the space to cover up any confidential information that he or she does not need to disclose in relation to the audit firm. An auditor may violate this principle by disclosing information about other entities that may not be relevant to the audit. For example, KPMG did not disclose certain confidential information about Pramukha Bank that was then and should not be disclosed. Responding to questions raised by some parties regarding Pramukha Bank even after the collapse, They stated that the information could not be disclosed due to the confidentiality of the information. It therefore appears that they have not violated this policy. Number 6. Professional behavior. This principle describes the professional conduct that an auditor should possess. That is, an auditor should never be involved in antisocial activities such as stealing financial fraud and drugs-related activities. There is no conclusive evidence that KPMG's auditors abuse their professional conduct.
Conclusion. Pramukha Savings and Development Bank went corrupt in October 2002. When the decision was made to sell the Pramukha Savings and Development Bank, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka supervision stated that the bank was wiped out due to weak, unsuitable and inclusions policies and mismanagement by individual responsibilities for the Pramukha Savings and Development Bank's troubles. It was the first bank liquidated in independent Sri Lanka and caused attention with huge concern, discussions and literature over the matter among different parties. Pramukha Savings and Development Bank's failure was largely ascribed to the board's failure to follow corporate governance standards and engage in legal, ethical and responsible business practices. They had failed to fulfill their fiduciary responsibilities as board members. Furthermore, there was no effective risk management mechanism in place to identify and monitor business hazard, which could jeopardize the company's viability. As a result, stringent adherence to good governance is critical for controlling corporate scandals like the Pramukha Savings and Development Bank. And regulatory agencies share equal duty for closely monitoring compliance to such criteria by regulated businesses like listed corporation and banking, finance and insurance companies. Further, it was the depositors who maintained the savings accounts of the Pramukha Savings and Development Bank who were directly affected by this crisis. Here, depositors invest their money with strong confidence in financial institutions. Events such as the Pramukha Savings and Development Bank's crisis discourage depositors from entering the country's financial institutions. Therefore, such action directly and indirectly affect the entire economy. Therefore, it is priority of the central bank to regulate the financial institutions of the country as well as to allow them to operate.